6:30. This meeting is now called to order. Do a roll call, determine if we have a quorum. Dan Ginrich. Primary.
Bob Morgan. David Hexter.
We have at least 4, so we have a quorum. Does anybody feel the need for a work session?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. They don't. All right. Staff, is there any unfinished business you need to discuss?
I don't believe so.
Okay then. Moving on to new business. We have petition TA 004345-2016, which is a request by the Town of Waxhaw Development Services Department to amend section 11-3-61 to clarify standards regarding location and orientation of fast food or drive-through restaurants. Do we normally ask beforehand, or you speak about it first?
Questions?
Yeah, I believe that someone wants to. You go first.
I'd go first.
Go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, members of the planning board, TA 004345-2016 has a request to amend section 11.361 to clarify the provisions that allow up to 2 fast food or drive-through restaurants to locate at the intersection of any 2 public streets. Staff feels that this amendment will give the needed clarity to uphold the spirit of the ordinance. Staff has proposed clarifying standards that allow 2 fast food or drive-through restaurants to locate at the intersection of any 2 public streets by striking the term located on and replacing it with the more descriptive term primarily oriented towards when referring to the location of fast food or drive-through restaurants on a public street. This provision will allow fast food drive-through restaurants to take advantage of the provision that allows 2 fast food or drive-through restaurants to locate at the intersection of 2 public streets when a restaurant has frontage on both of the streets but is primarily oriented towards one and not the other. This would bring the current regulations more in line with the form-based development outlined in the current draft updated comprehensive plan and would match closer with the existing regulations found in other jurisdictions throughout the state. The proposed language would continue to require a separation distance between fast food or drive-through restaurants not located at the intersection of 2 public streets or restaurants that are primarily oriented towards the same public street. The supplemental regulations would continue to provide protections to residential uses through residential separation distances. All other development requirements currently in place, such as the screening and buffering, speaker placement, stacking standards, as well as provisions that allow fast food and drive-through restaurants to develop within multi-tenant buildings would remain in place. Fast food and drive-through restaurants will continue to only be allowed in the C2 and C3 zoning districts with the issuance of a conditional use permit. Staff conducted research with earlier text amendments to examine the regulations regarding fast food and drive-through restaurants and has revisited the research. Staff looked at regulations of more than 25 jurisdictions in the state, found one other town other than Waxhaw that requires a separation between fast food or drive-through restaurants and another fast food or drive-through restaurant. Carver in North Carolina. Carver requires a 1,000-foot separation distance between fast food restaurants. This is a summary of the research staff conducted regarding fast food drive-through restaurant standards throughout the state, and it was included with your 24 packets. These are maps of the location of fast food restaurants currently in northern Waxhaw, which is the one to the left, and southern Waxhaw on the right. So there's McDonald's and Taco Bell, which are McDonald's is the only fast food drive-through restaurant located at a corner, which this clarification would currently apply to, as it faces both 16 and has frontage on Cutlass Road, though it's not primary frontage. Planning staff recommends approval of TA 004345-2016, proposing to clarify regulations regarding the development of fast food and drive-through restaurants at intersections of 2 public streets. Text amendment would not remove the required forms of separation distance between fast food or drive-through restaurants and another fast food or drive-through restaurant, or remove the protections for residential uses. All applicable screening, buffering, and and other site development standards will remain in place. Fast food drive-through restaurants would still require the issuance of the CUP to develop in only the C2 and C3 zoning districts. I'll take any questions at this time. And I work currently with Kurt White on this text amendment, and he's here to answer anything as well.
Any questions, comments?
Yeah, could you just go back to the map, Max?
Sure.
I guess I'm just looking for kind of, I need a picture of what it is that you're trying to do here and how it's different than what we have in place now.
It's not different than what we have in place now. It's just that the language isn't clear, and we felt we couldn't make a clear determination as the subsection reads, there may be up to 2 fast food restaurants located at the intersection of any 2 public streets, and which is pretty clear.
So what with the McDonald's, I guess, being the best example that we currently have, what could not be done today with another fast food restaurant at that intersection that could be done if this was put in place?
There's nothing that could be done in the future that could be, well, we felt that the language was not strong enough, that if anyone questioned allowing 2 fast food restaurants to go at that intersection, the language wasn't strong enough to back it up. Because it goes on to say, however, no 2 fast food restaurants shall be located on the same side of the same public street within 400 feet of each other. Being that if you try to put one in the vacant lot behind the McDonald's on Cuthbertson Road, someone could argue that McDonald's faces Cuthbertson Road and therefore wouldn't be allowed within 400 feet. Or another one couldn't be allowed within 400 feet. And so this changes it.
Even though that lot behind McDonald's isn't technically at the intersection, I guess? I guess the argument would be that it is.
Yeah, I believe it would be, because there's not a public street in between.
Right, okay.
And, I mean, and the ordinance currently reads, and will continue to read, with the change or not, that there may be up to 2 fast food restaurants located at the intersection of any 2 public streets.
And so the argument would be, I guess, that the primary frontage of the lot behind the McDonald's would be Cuthbertson versus Providence, and you're saying that the primary
Frontage of the McDonald's would be Providence.
So how do you determine the primary orientation of a fast food restaurant? Is that set forth somewhere? Is that defined?
It is not, but there can be only one primary frontage.
Which is it? Like for the McDonald's?
It
When I look at
it would be 16. Because the front of the building faces 16.
which is the front?
Yeah,
The doors on the
to his
side.
point, there's actually, it seems, more McDonald's along Cuthbertson than there is along
Yeah,
the building itself.
yeah, but we'd argue that it's primarily oriented towards, and this is the exact type of discussion that we felt brought the need for this text amendment.
I just don't see it making it any clearer.
Yeah,
You're saying more descriptive term, primarily oriented towards, and to me, it's not, it's still
I agree.
not descriptive.
Why don't you use the
No.
words you used in your description, use the words primary frontage. We know by primary frontage is facing 16, right?
Yeah.
So why can't we somehow get that in there instead of using primarily oriented towards? That leaves it up for,
Change it to.
well, leaves it up for interpretation.
However, no 2 fast food restaurants shall be,
Well, I don't know, just what I mean.
shall have primary frontage on the same side of the same public street.
Something like that, yeah.
And I feel like that would work as well. Just,
I think it's a little bit more clear, if you ask me. And by the way, should we acknowledge Brenda is on the,
yes.
okay.
What about, no fast food restaurant located B, put down no 2 fast food restaurants shall, and put in have their primary frontage on the,
The reason we didn't use the term frontage in in the amendment, which we did initially discuss, but the current definition of frontage would classify both sides of the McDonald's.
Well, no, I'm saying primary frontage.
Yep. But we don't have a definition of primary.
Well, that's what he was saying.
Right. It seems like it's an undefined term in code.
Mhm.
Would the primary frontage be the front door?
Don't know.
What's the address of the McDonald's?
Yeah.
Well, the address of McDonald's is Cuttington Road, the whole shopping center is Cuttington Road. So that's, yeah.
Which was the counterfeits?
Counterfeits is 16.
Yeah. I'm just saying, we gotta simplify it, just simplify it and say whichever, which way the counters face.
So what are you trying to accomplish with the amendment? What is the goal?
To allow two fast food restaurants to develop on the same corner.
So the primary goal was for two fast food restaurants not to be on the same corner or facing the same primary frontage within 400 feet?
Yeah, the first sentence of the subsection, there may be up to two fast food restaurants located at the intersection of any two public streets. That's pretty clear. The second sentence is the one that's unclear. And we were hoping to get ahead of any possible arguments following.
So you don't want the front door of both restaurants to be on the same, facing?
Yeah, to face the same street.
Right.
Same street.
We want them to face opposite streets.
Right.
And they can't be within 400 feet?
If they face opposite streets at an intersection, they could be,
But if they're facing the same way, they
they
can't?
can't be.
Right.
That's like Taco Bell and McDonald's face the same street,
But they're more than 400 feet
but they're more
away?
than 400 feet
Right.
each other.
Staff, when staff had the discussions, we felt that the intent of the ordinance was to basically prevent there from being a row of fast food restaurants all beside each other, up and down Highway 16, for
Right.
example. What the ordinance is trying to allow, though, is it is trying to allow for there to be two fast food restaurants at the intersection of two public streets. That the way the ordinance is currently worded, it could potentially cause put it up for interpretation if the parcel behind McDonald's were to be developed for a fast food restaurant. So we felt like that this actually helps staff to be able to apply the intent of the ordinance to have two restaurants at the same intersection.
Well, we understand what you're trying to do, but what you're saying is not clear. That's the problem. The problem is the wordage, not the intent on your part. So the wordage needs to be changed in order for the intent to move forward for what you're trying to do. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me.
Okay. So how are we gonna reword this?
Well, I still say we use primary frontage, and then, for now, and then worry about.
Based on the definition of frontage, we ruled out using the term frontage.
Do you have a definition? What is the definition that you have currently for frontage that's in there?
The area between the building facade and the vehicular lanes, inclusive of its built and planted components, frontage is divided into private and public frontage.
Okay, that one.
So that,
So you can see why we
doesn't
kind of
clear, and this is where we went around in circles trying to think of a term that would.
What about getting rid of oriented, primarily facing towards? I don't know, because if you look at the McDonald's, it's facing towards 16.
Yeah.
If you look at Taco Bell, it's facing towards 16. If you look at Burger King, facing towards 16. The only issue is the
But-
Bojangles is facing towards
Yeah,
the thing.
you look at Bojangles, it wouldn't be facing towards.
But that doesn't make, that's not gonna affect anything.
But it's not at an intersection,
Yeah.
so it would be.
Is that already get rid of oriented but not facing?
You're saying primarily facing towards?
Yeah. I mean, unless you think of a better word,
Just-
Now, would the
I'll redo
main
the sentence.
entrance though, say for the McDonald's,
Hmm.
is the Providence? That's the main door.
Yes, we would
So the main entrance for the Taco Bell, is that also coming off of Providence?
Mhm.
Even though it may have a side door drive-through?
they're-
The main entrance, so the main entrance or the primary entrance to the establishment, would that help?
Yeah, I guess it would yeah.
Primary entrance? Main entrance?
Yeah, if there, yeah, we've just run into problems where there's no definition for it. If the board as a whole feels that that would be a better phrase to use, then we can, you all can vote on that and move forward with that, and we can go to board of commission,
Okay, do we want the primary entrance, the main entrance?
Yeah. But it's just to get something.
There are restaurants that have a front and have no, their entrance are on the two sides.
But they're not, like, right at the main intersection, like Bojangles is back in.
No, I just meant a new future restaurant.
You can have side entrances,
No, I'm
but the
saying,
main primary entrance, like the primary entrance for McDonald's,
Right.
faces 16.
I'm saying there are other fast food restaurants, they build certain, they don't.
like the Bojangles, there's no, if you look
There's
at
no
what
front
would be,
entrance.
what would be the front, there's no door there.
Right,
There's
there's
only
no
on
door.
either side.
There's a door that faces towards 16 if you park in the parking lot.
There is, yes.
Okay.
But there's not one that,
Traditional frontage you can think of, or the traditional face in the restaurant. There's no door on the traditional face.
Okay, well, we need to
I don't know.
move on and come up with a word here.
Why don't we ask staff to come up with a revised amendment?
and there's always the option to table it and have staff come back with a different.
I make a motion that staff table, that we table, what is this?
Well,
TA 00.
Someone wants to, I believe there's someone who wants to
Speak.
make a public comment first before we take anything.
Okay.
Motion. Divyan Patel, is it? Am I saying that
No,
right?
not.
No,
yeah,
that's for the gas station.
that's for the next one.
That's.
Oh, it says fast food. All right.
No,
Okay, it's all right.
I didn't know which one to sign, it was three of them,
It's
and then-
okay, it's all right. I didn't know that, but on my sheet it says
I
fast food.
apologize.
Never mind.
Okay.
I make a motion that we table TA 004345-2016 to, do I have to say to the next meeting? In order for staff to come up with the appropriate wordage for section 61C.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor of tabling? Say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay.
And you did say my name right.
Okay, next is petition RZ-004303-2016, which is a request by Shri Ganesh Deva or Deva LLC on behalf of South Central Oil for a rezoning map amendment on parcel 05-115016 from NMX neighborhood mixed use to TC Town Center located at 315 West South Main Street. Staff?
Not me. Chairman, members of the planning board, RZ 004303-2016 is request to rezone parcel 05-115016, 315 West South Main Street from neighborhood mixed use to town center. The applicant is the current manager and lessee of the service station and is interested in buying the property to continue the use of an automobile service station, but is concerned about the legally non-conforming status of the use. The automobile service station is not allowed in the NMX zoning district. According to section 10.5, reconstruction prohibited of the UDO. If the building is damaged 60% or more of the total value of the structure, then it can only be repaired and used as a conforming use. The TC zoning district allows for automobile service stations / gas stations as conditional use with supplemental regulations. The TC district would allow for the re-establishment of the of the use with the issuance of conditional use permit if the building was damaged more than 60% of the total value. The property is located at 315 West South Main Street and has frontage on West South Main Street, South Broad Street, and the unopened South Hicks Street, which the park is on, and the unopened Caldwell Street right of way. The property is currently the site of a gas station with a convenience store, and the property is approximately 1.02 acres in size. Surrounding land uses are as follows. To the north is the West South Main Street right of way used for parking for the commercial and civic uses on the block, and the CSX railroad line right of way. To the east is the unopened South Hicks Street right of way in the David G. Barnes Park. Properties on Southwest Main Street are zoned OS Open Space and MS Main Street. To the south is the unopened Caldwell Street right of way and single family homes zoned UN Urban Neighborhood. And to the west is the South Broad Street, single family homes zoned UN Urban Neighborhood. Future land use map 2030 comprehensive plan shows the property as historic downtown, which is described in the plan as follows. Historic downtown, this area incorporates the historic structures, civic uses, commercial opportunities, and active environment that the downtown core of Waxhaw. Four commercial areas are to be preserved and enhanced over the long term and should be mixed-use opportunities that include commercial, office, and institutional uses, and some residential uses. The future downtown small area plan will identify specific destinations for the land uses and detailed standards. The downtown small area plan lays the groundwork for the adoption of the downtown code. Currently, the current draft of the updated future land use map identifies the area the property is located in as G4, which is the infill growth sector, and allows for the T3 suburban zone to T4 urban zone, T5 urban center, and T6 urban core transect zones. The T5 transect zone is equivalent to the town center zoning district found in the downtown code, which is described in section 4.1.17 D. The UDO is town center. Districts consist of larger mixed-use buildings that accommodate retail, offices, townhomes, apartments. It's a tight network of streets with wide sidewalks, city street and tree plantings, and buildings set close to the sidewalk. The current zoning of the property is NMX. Proposed zoning of the property is TC. This is the most current survey of the site provided by the applicant, which was included in your packet. To the left is the view of the north side of the service station, and to the right is the east side of the service station. And there's the northeast view and the west view of the station. Section 21.3.2.G contains the supplemental regulations for the development of automobile service / gas stations allowed in the TC district with the issuance of conditional use permit. Pumps are only allowed in the third layer and at least 50 feet away from the side or rear property line that abuts residential development, and it must be buffered with a Class C buffer. The principal building for the service station must be at least 1,600 square feet. And the lighting must be shielded so that glare is limited to the property line, and the service station does not disturb surrounding properties. And after that are regulations for car washes. The property contains an automobile service station that is legally non-conforming in the NMX district. Future land use map 2030 plan identifies the parcel as historic downtown. The draft of the updated future land use growth sectors map allows for up to the T6 urban core transit zone, which would allow for medium high density mixed use buildings, entertainment, civic, and cultural uses. The TC town center zoning district is in keeping with the T5 urban center transit zone allowed by the draft of the growth sectors map. According to section 10.5, reconstruction prohibited. The UDO of the building is if the building is damaged more than 60% of the total value of the structure, the can only be repaired as a performing use. TC zoning district allows for automobile service stations, gas stations, as a conditional use with supplemental regulations and would allow for the use to be reestablished after damage of 60% or more for the discontinuation after 180 days with the issuance of a conditional use permit. Planning staff recommends approval of the petition. The requested rezoning is in keeping with the 2030 comprehensive plan, future land use map, and is also in keeping with the current draft, the updated future land use growth sectors map that accompanies the proposed updates to the Waxhaw comprehensive plan. And the applicant is here to take any questions as well.
Any comments, questions?
Yeah, I think on the one slide, Max, it said, all canopies posts must be located in the third layer. I guess it started out by saying that currently it's 60% or more damage, but it also mentions that they're not allowed to expand
Yes.
under the current.
Yes, under
Under town center, are they allowed to expand?
that any changes would require a conditional use permit. But currently, if it remained in MX, they would not be allowed to expand or reestablish after damage more than 60%, or if the use was discontinued for more than 180 days. They would only be allowed to reestablish as a permitted use in the NMX district.
No, well, I'm just trying to, there's a park right next door, I'm just trying to be mindful of that. And so,
Yeah. The other thing actually related to that is the only two uses that I see here that are a little bit weird for TC that are not allowed in NMX are the ABC store and a lounge, bar, tavern, or nightclub. Would we have anything to say about that being next to a park, having that type of establishment there?
I'd have to look at the supplemental regulations. I don't,
I'm
off the top of my head, I don't know.
My train of
but-
thought is also if he plans to add more pumps in the back or closer to the park.
I don't think he can. I mean, you can ask
Yeah, I
him,
don't
but
think
what
he
kind
can.
of questions?
But
you have
even-
Well,
to
it
get-
says within 50 feet of the property
Yeah.
line, that's what I'm trying to get confirmation.
Even if it-
And just because it's him doesn't mean the next owner might not
Well,
do that.
even if it's not rezoned, it can, no expansion of the service station use can happen. But if it is rezoned, any expansion or change to the service station use will require a conditional use permit.
So he'd have to come back before planning board.
Yes.
Yes.
It's just, if anything happened to the station as it is now, with this district,
Got it.
yep.
And the CUP survives the transfer of title?
Yes. Yes, as long as it isn't damaged more than 60% or it's not discontinued for 180 days or more, it is allowed to continue to operate.
Are you planning to continue to operate the same as,
Can I-
what are your
can I-
plans for the property?
Can I say that
Yeah, well, I'm sure.
basically, we've been there since 1990. I feel we're part of historic Waxhaw. I met people that were 2 years old, now they're 18, 20, 22. We've been there for a long time. This is not just a business to us, it's family to us, to be honest with you. Everybody in town of Waxhaw that lives in that area knows Dewey's. Knows my dad, Bob. He's been gone for, I know, 11 years because I've been married for 11 years. I know he's been gone for 11 years. Everybody knows my dad. My family still runs it. The reason why I wanted to rezone, I'm buying the property. I wanted to rebuild the same spot. I'm not trying to make it bigger, make it exciting, make it whatever. I want to build it to exact same standpoint, and whatever historic Waxhaw requires me to do, I will build it to that standard. That is my main thing. Doesn't matter if I have to buy extra old brick or whatever, whichever way you tell me to build it, I will build it. But this is not, this is my first store in my whole family. This is what got us to what we have now. And I want to see that property be there for the next 50 to 61 years. The only reason why I'm here. And I'll fight all the way to the end. It's just, I love this property because I mean, both my sister, me, everybody went to college, got married, paid for everything in our life. So this store means more than just a store. And everybody that comes in there means more to us than a customer. That is why I want to stay the same.